Please consider supporting Black Women United YEG for the protection and advancement of black women and girls in Alberta. You can learn more about them at bwunited.ca. They are always looking for donations and volunteers. So please, again, support Black Women United YEG for the protection and advancement of black women and girls in Alberta. Again, that website is bwunited.ca.
This is Dmitry Samarov from Chicago, Illinois, and I love listening to Vish Khanna's Creative Control because whether he's talking to a favorite musician or actor of mine or someone I've never heard of, it's as if he's introducing me to a new friend. And the way things are going, couldn't you use a new friend? Listen now.
To make your flexible monthly donation to Creative Control, please visit patreon.com/creativecontrol today.
Chris Locke and Seán Cullen are wonderful comedians based in Toronto, Ontario. Noted writers, actors, stand-ups, and performers, Chris and Seán recently conjured two highly silly and amusing alter egos named Tony and Keith, who get together for strange, funny conversations. Under the banner Chris and Seán are Tony and Keith, the quartet-like duo released 3 fantastically excellent comedy records in September, October, and December of 2020, which can be found on most streaming services and also at chrisandsean.bandcamp.com. Ahead of their forthcoming remote contribution to the 2021 edition of the Hillside Inside Festival, I chatted with Chris and Seán, our Tony and Keith, and we covered subjects like their relationship, fan fiction, laboratory results, negative validation, the Olympics, other future plans, and more. A part of the Entertainment One network with the support of listeners like you who follow and subscribe to this podcast and spread the word about it and make flexible monthly donations at patreon.com/creativecontrol and Massey Hall's concert film series live at masseyhall.com, where you can stream dozens of 30-minute films for free, including musical performances by past podcast guests like LaDon Hussein, formerly known as Cold Specs, plus in-kind support from Pizza Trocadero, The Bookshelf in Planet Bean Coffee in Guelph, and Granddad's Donuts in Hamilton. This is the 594th episode of Creative Control, featuring the very funny Chris and Seán, our Tony and Keith, with your host, me, Vish Khanna. Hello, Tony. Are you there? Tony, are you there?
Hey, Vish. Good to see you, man. How you doing? Very good to see you.
I'm well. Good. Thank you. It's nice to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to see you as well. And Keith, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm right here, although I'm not actually here. I mean, we are, not allowed to spend a lot of time together, not just because of COVID-19, but also because Tony and I are incredibly combustible when we're together.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
People are afraid.
Especially in the winter.
You might actually... You burst into flames, literally, both of you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially when it's freezing cold outside, which it is right now.
That's right. The dryness in the air combines with our natural chemical reactability. I don't know if that's a word, but I don't care. So
all of the great fires throughout history are from us being together outside.
That's right.
Right. Okay.
Remember that song by Billy Joel, We Didn't Start the Fire?
100%.
That was us. We did start the fire.
I know. And when he released it, I was so excited. That's why I bought the single.
Oh.
Do you have a good collection of singles?
Yep. Well, I've got 2. I've got We Didn't Start the Fire, and I've got Personal Jesus by Depeche Mode.
That's funny because I have Jesus Jones right here, right now.
Oh, let's trade.
It's a good song.
Now, Tony, I must ask, how do you know Keith exactly, Tony? How did you two encounter one another for the first time? Do you remember?
There's a million stories that other people have told us because I can't remember, but I remember definitely bumping into him on the street one time after a tragedy, and he said, "Hey, Tony," and I said, "Hey, Keith, how's it going?" You know.
What's weird is we knew each other's names immediately.
Yeah.
Because we were wearing T-shirts with our names on them, which is what we used to do to introduce ourselves to people. Like in case they wanted to talk to us, they could just look at our T-shirt and say, "Oh, Keith?" And I would nod.
Yeah.
That's a friendly practice.
Yeah. Well, as soon as we saw each other and we had our names on our shirts, we knew it was going to be a lifelong friendship after that.
Has anyone else that you've encountered worn T-shirts with their own names on them? And if so, have you encountered any other Tonys or Keiths? And has that been confusing to you, given the bond that you two have established?
I remember one time there was a guy named Gary who had his name Gary on the shirt, and we did him pretty bad.
Yeah.
We didn't treat him well.
No, we fought him, both of us. I say fight, but it was really just us coming up behind him and hitting him with bowling pins until he was still.
We fought him, and then afterwards we both wore shirts that said, "Who foughted?"
Well, it sounds to me that you simply beat a man. Keith, is that what you were getting at there? You just simply beat him.
Well, a beating, it's all about perspective. I mean, if you're being beaten, yes, it's a beating. But if you're beating someone, it's a fight that you're winning handily.
Oh, yes. That's an important distinction to make. That hadn't occurred to me. So anyone else...
we beat him bad, but we never once felt like we were being beat.
I see. That's okay. So for anyone else listening out there, if they're walking down streets or alleys I think you guys are based in Toronto, if I recall correctly. It would be best not to wear a shirt with your own name emblazoned on it, because that's a trigger. That's
just simply for Tony and Keith.
Right. Okay. All right. That's fair.
And
enough.
anyone else who's listening right now, Vish's beard looks like it escaped from a bin at the Jim Henson Muppet workshop.
Okay. Why did it need to escape? What's going on at the Jim Henson workshop that beards have to escape?
Well, it didn't want to be used in one of the films because it wants to be free.
Well,
that's all.
Does it want to end up being one huge eyebrow on a monster?
On a monster costume?
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
It could. I hadn't occurred to me that my beard might not be happy on my face. I kind of want to shave it off. What do you guys think? It's a little...
No, keep it.
Why is that?
These are wild times. And we need to look as wild as possible.
In fact, I forbid you to shave it.
You forbid me? Do you even have that power? Can you do that?
If you shave it, Tony and I will come and stand outside your window and just look in, and I don't know what we'll do, but we can't come in because of the disease.
Right.
If you shave that damn beard off of your damn face, I swear to God, Keith and I will stand outside your window and eat croissants and drink Americanos and stare at you.
Wow. That is tantamount to a beating, if I might say. All right, I'll keep it.
Wouldn't you feel bad? You would feel bad.
I would feel bad. I'd want some of your croissant and your coffee for sure. Yeah, I actually am curious. Now, you two generally have these nice conversations. I've heard a few of them, and I've been eavesdropping, I suppose I should say. You were talking about stalking me. I'm not suggesting the opposite is true, but I will say, I enjoy your conversations. But in these COVID times. How difficult has it been for you two to get together and have a fruitful discussion about any topic, really? Keith, has it been difficult to be away from Tony during this period?
Well, yes, because we're almost inseparable in normal situations. But I have built a Tony effigy out of old pants and some rubber that I found and a tire for the head. So I can kind of look over in the corner and say, oh, there's Tony. I'm okay. But we talk a lot on Zoom, and we also talk on our phones. And I also have a long pipe that I've driven through Tony's wall of his home, and then I can hoot down this pipe, and we can hoot back and forth.
I see. Hooting. I see.
Yeah.
And Tony, is that a fun experience to be hooted at?
Oh, yes. And even, I have to say, in between hoots, when we are not hooting at each other through the long pipe, I have been fulfilling my boring, isolated days by writing fan fiction, Tony and Keith fan fiction. And I will say, there's a lot of volumes already written, and they're really fun, romantic adventure stories.
Oh. Well, that's
not unlike something like that Alexandre Dumas would have written. Yeah. Take out the Three Musketeers and D'Artagnan, and it's Tony and Keith.
Interesting. So, could you expand upon that a little bit? What kinds of things would Tony and Keith get up to in any of your fan fiction? I mean, you gave us a little taste of it, but I want more. I want a full bite.
Well, like in my fan fiction, say, like Tony and Keith, us, stab assholes to death, and then we have sex with babes.
Wow. Okay.
That one scares me.
It's really fun.
Well, it's fun to read, but I don't think I'd participate in that. I guess that's why it's fiction, right?
It's fan fiction.
Yeah. One of the confusing aspects of this is that fan fiction usually is written by fans. It's not normally written by the subjects of the fan fiction themselves. It's like some sort of ego thing, perhaps, that you have to write your own fan.
I'm a huge
fiction.
fan of us.
Here's the thing. I believe that people have to be their own biggest fan. Because if you don't love you, who's going to love you? The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders? Probably not.
No. It's pretty low. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Good point.
Good point.
Now, Keith, have you read any of this fiction? Have you read any of the fan fiction yourself, or has it just been something? Oh, you have. Okay.
I read one where we get to join the cast of Police Academy for a ski trip, which was incredible, like really fun. And the guy with the sound effects kept walking around behind us, making like noises like we were vomiting into our pants, which is incredibly specific.
Ski pants.
Ski pants. They were ski pants, sure.
Why would you, if you had the physiological urge to vomit, why would you choose your pants as a vessel? I'm curious about that. And also, why would Michael Winslow, the actor, walk behind you while you were skiing on some sort of weird ski field trip episode to Police Academy? I don't believe that actually ever occurred. Why would all of these things be happening? I'm confused.
Well, I wrote the fan fiction, so I can say that it's because I love Michael Winslow. He's my inspiration for the sound effects that I do, but I don't know. Yeah, sorry, just not to take away from Keith's interpretation of what he read.
No, it's fine. I'm. Do you want to explain yourself at all there, Keith, in terms of the vomiting in your own pants?
No, you know what? It's Tony's work, right?
Right.
I'm not going to, second guess it. He has a lot of fantasies about vomiting into his own pants, and he kind of
uses that's right.
me,
it's his work.
Uses me to live those fantasies out in the fan fiction that he writes, which I really think is healthy. But as far as vomiting into my pants, I do that. I always wear like large clown pants that have suspenders and very big waist that like moves around. So I can vomit right into my own pants if I feel the need, and then store it for later analysis.
So you will vomit and then create some sort of home lab where you examine the vomit to determine what exactly. What are you after when you examine? I've never been asked to submit a vomit sample. Other samples, other fluids, yes. I've never heard of anyone saying we need to examine the vomit. What are you looking for there in your home lab?
Well, what we're looking for, me? What I'm looking
you specifically. I'd like you specifically to speak to this.
What I'm looking for...
have to explain it.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking for naturally occurring radioactive isotopes of carbon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can figure out exactly when in history I ate the thing that I'm now vomiting.
Radioactive, though, this suggests some sort of nuclear activity going on in your nutritional supplements, your diet, if you will.
Well,
how is it possible that you would be eating? Is it because of a microwave or something? Why would there be a nuclear component? Radioactive? Please.
Here's the thing.
That sounds very disturbing.
It's a common misconception that nuclear power drives the microwave oven. It is not the case. It's a microwave. It's basically a focused wave of energy, and it works by heating the moisture within any food you put into the microwave. What I do is I drink a small amount of nuclear waste from the Darlington nuclear plant every day. And because I get money, I get paid to sample it. And then the nuclear authorities ask me, how is it today? And I say, well, it's still really bad. And they say, okay, good. So they know.
That's encouraged them to actually add different types of flavors. And so Keith always also gets to try and sample and rate different flavors, kind of almost like styles of Doritos, etc., like Flaming Hot, etc.
Yeah, last night I had cheese and onion nuclear waste, which was good.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it, but you know, it takes it kind of takes the sting out of drinking nuclear waste.
Sure.
To have it some kind of.
It's nice because there's two kind of like experiments going on here. Like Keith helps out the nuclear power plant by telling them how their nuclear waste tastes and how the different flavors rank on like a scale of 1 to 10 flavor wise, like what would you say, etc. And it also works in the sense that Keith goes home and takes the puke out of his pants and does his own experiments with that. So it's kind of like everybody's benefiting.
Yeah, in the business we call that a win-win. I agree. I think you're absolutely right there. Tony, what is it like?
So if we have to go back to the origin of the fan fiction,
yes.
It's inspired by Keith's win-win situation.
Right.
The thing that we go on the ski trip with the Police Academy cast, especially Michael Winslow, I know you're reading it, but when you read it, you can hear his mouth doing the crunching of my ski boots on the snow.
Oh.
I try to write it as efficient as I can so that you can get the feeling of, your ears get the feeling of hearing Michael Winslow's lips.
Right. I'm not familiar with too much.
But if you keep reading, which Keith was about to explain, but you cut him off to ask about the puke in the pants.
Yes.
Keith does take the puke in his ski pants back to a chalet at the end of the story and does experiments on it while I soak in a hot tub.
With some babes.
Oh, I see. With some babes.
Yeah, and I watch him and I go, Keith, you always do that.
Right. Yeah. Well, first of all, Keith, I apologize. Tony has called me out here for interrupting you, and I wasn't raised to interrupt people. I feel badly about that. Are you okay?
No, it's okay. You're interested. We respect interested people. Please, come on.
Oh, sure.
Okay. I feel like you interrupted us there, Tony. Keith, are you okay there?
Yeah, you know what?
I'm interested.
Like, people should interrupt all the time. Like, what happened, say, at the U.S. Capitol building was just someone being interested in what was going on.
Oh, I never thought of that. Yeah.
They basically just interrupted the Capitol Hill building. That's all. I ascribe to that classic Groucho Marx quote. You know what I mean? Like, I never want to have a conversation unless someone is interrupting me.
That is not the quote. I don't think that's right. I think you've got it.
It is.
I just want to double back on something you said about the audiobook version of the fan fiction. Is that normal for fan fiction to have its own audiobook where, stars like Michael Winslow are involved creating sound effects? Is that what you were implying there?
It's possible when you're rich and you can do whatever you want.
Oh, right. I always forget that you're very wealthy. Tony, the other thing I want to ask you about is, it seems to me, based on his experimentation and his home laboratory, that Keith is rather smart. Are you ever intimidated hanging out with someone who is so intelligent? Is that ever a problem for you?
It's more like inspired, and also just kind of like the reason why I do hang out with him. Like, I need his brain to help me survive. You know what I mean?
I am very intellectually intelligent, and Tony is incredibly emotionally intelligent.
Oh, interesting.
His emotional intelligence is off the charts.
EI.
Exactly. Like, for example, like Keith will explain something to me extremely complex that he read in a book that I could never understand. And then afterwards, I tell him from an emotional standpoint, I hated that.
And it's very smart.
Okay, right. That's quite an analysis to simply take some information and say you hated it. Does that inform your further work there, Keith?
Yeah, for sure. If I know I'm doing something right, if a person who can understand it hates it, then it must be really smart, right? So it's kind of a negative approval. Does that make sense? A negative validation of the work that I'm doing?
Again, I feel like you're operating on a higher plane than Tony and I, so forgive us, we're a little slower than you. Mm-hmm. So when you say negative validation, again, a term I've not heard. Mm-hmm. I've got a couple of university degrees. I don't want to brag, but I've not heard negative validation. That is a fascinating concept. It just seems to me you're potentially, and I don't want to create a rift here, Keith, is it possible you're squandering your talents and your skills with, yahoos like me and Tony? Like, couldn't you be doing something with your big brain? Couldn't you be doing something really important? Again, no offense, Tony. I'm just saying, Keith seems...
Can I just say something here before Keith answers?
Sure. Yeah.
Going back to the whole, let's interrupt each other. As smart and as intelligent as Keith is, and you're totally right, Vish.
Thank you.
He's a brilliant mind. He's a genius.
Appreciate
and that's
that.
why
Yeah.
I've attached myself to him. There's no doubt about that. You're calling me out, basically, and I agree. But I just also want to say, as smart and as intelligent as you do think Keith is, there is a restaurant near his house, a taqueria, where we go around back and eat old grizzled meat out of the fry trap that gets dumped in the garbage sack.
Oh.
So there's also that aspect of Keith that you have to consider.
Just the thing is, I may be incredibly intelligent, but that doesn't mean I'm not exquisitely foolish with my choices.
Yes, especially under both of our influence on each other, yes.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, Keith, you are self-aware to know about your foolishness. Like, can you cite examples of foolishness that you've engaged in recently? It's the new year. People have all sorts of New Year's resolutions and revolutions.
Yeah,
we
New
saw
Year's
that
revolution.
in Washington recently. So, but people have New Year's resolutions. Have you made any and tried to enact them and realized, wait a minute, I'm Keith. I'm very smart. That was a very foolish thing to do. What am I thinking? I better call Tony. Have you had that sequence of events occur at any point?
Yeah. I, just last year, and Tony will laugh about this, I resolved that every morning I would get up, turn on the stove, the burner on the stove, and sit on it with my scrotum dangling into the gas flame. And I would do that for at least 10 minutes, and I would talk to Tony while I was on the burner. I'm not sure. See, it's excruciatingly foolish. And this is where Tony and I kind of balance each other out. He pointed out that my genitals were being roasted. And
right.
I understood that intellectually. But on a practical level, I didn't embrace it. And Tony points out the practicalities of life and keeps me on an even keel. Does that make sense?
Well, it makes sense on a few different levels. Yes, I would say so. Yeah. Tony, can you tell us how you were feeling when you received this information from Keith that he was sitting on top of a stove burner and dangling his scrotum into the gas flames? Like, for anyone, that would be a hard call to take. But what was it like for you that day?
Well, the thing is, Vish, that you have to understand is I may be really, really freaking stupid, and I might be a damn fool, but I'm not an idiot. I understand there are people that, there's that I do my best thinking. I come up with my best ideas when I'm sitting on the toilet, those kind of people. Unfortunately for Keith, he comes up with some of his best ideas when he's sitting on a stove and his nuts are on fire.
Right. That makes sense.
So the thing is he has to do it. He has to be there, but I have to be there too to say, that's enough, Keith. You're almost all on fire.
Right. That's good. That's what we all need, a friend who can tell us whether or not we're completely on fire or not. Yeah,
so
no, I agree.
Are you starting to, playing your little subtle, the Queen's Gambit mind games with us, trying to split us apart and break away this dynamic duo, this friendship? Do you see the simpatico of it all at this point?
It's quite the opposite. It's quite the opposite. I view your union as a magical one, and I wish only to, partake of the magic. Our
union, to be honest, to play your Queen's Gambit game is like the chess master and the stepmom that takes her to some of the. But fortunately, the stepmom dies, so one of us might die soon. But that's
Well, the difference is, like, when Tony is in the situation of the woman who's the chess master, when he looks up at the ceiling after taking tons of drugs, he sees Skittles, like those little candies, moving around on the ceiling.
Yeah, I see Skittles falling into my mouth at night when I look at my bedroom ceiling.
It's kind of like a weird commercial for Skittles all of a sudden. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I can work. Maybe we can get them to sponsor the podcast officially, so we're not just giving them free plugs. But in any case, the Queen's Gambit is an interesting phenomenon, and I'm going to bypass it. There's one thing I want to ask you about, and it's a bit of a callback. I asked you, Keith, I believe, about New Year's resolutions, and I'm trying to stay a little topical. We're still in January of 2021. Here's a thing that no one ever does, and I thought I'd ask each of you to do it, to actually reflect upon what your New Year's resolutions were for 2020, and reflect upon whether or not you actually engage with those resolutions. I'm curious about that, because you seem like doers, not just talkers. You seem like people who will do the things you say you're going to do. So, Tony, let's begin with you, actually. Do you recall what your New Year's resolutions were for 2020, and whether or not you actually, fulfilled them?
To be honest, yeah. And I fulfilled it 2 days ago, which is what, January 5th?
No. That would be 2021. I was asking about 2020, like the last year. I wanted to go all the way back to like December of 2019, and where you're thinking about what you're going to do. Yeah, no one ever does this. You're right to be confused. Oh,
Vish,
yes, go ahead, Keith.
Can you just take a chill pill?
Yeah. I'm just going to have a sip. Yeah, that was actually my New Year's resolution last year. Take a chill pill. I was going to take a chill pill all last year.
Maybe you should.
Keith, Vish is trying to shove a wedge in between us and pry us apart. He's jealous of our friendship.
Yeah.
Again, the magic.
Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Listen, it's not. I'm simply trying to moderate a little conversation here. It's not a wedge. I'm trying to engage you both in a conversation.
You want to be either the new Tony or the new Keith to whomever chooses you. You want us to meet up when the vaccinations, we're all vaccinated and COVID-19 is done, and you want one of us to you want to eat meat with us, one of us behind the taco restaurant. I can see it. You're jealous of our friendship and what we've got.
He's trying to drive a wedge between us.
I know.
And as long as it's a wedge of like deep fried macaroni and cheese, I'm all for it.
Yeah, we'll eat it together, and then our friendship will become back close together again.
Yeah.
Listen, I could not be further from the truth. I actually want to be a part of this.
Everybody does.
Not
this is how this interview is going to go, Vish. This is how this interview is going to go.
Well, no, you can't tell me what to do. It's my show, and it's my interview. We're already half an hour into the thing. You can't all of a sudden say this is how it's going to go. We're not resetting.
Okay, this is how this interview is going to go, Vish. All right, listen up.
Fine. I'm all ears. How is this interview going to go?
You tell me your New Year's resolution of January 2019? And did you do it
December
last year?
December 2019.
December 2019. And did you do it last year?
No. I'm going to take your question that I asked you, and I'm going to send it to Keith now. Keith, can you think of your resolution from December of 2019? What you were going to do in
that was
2020?
my December 2019 resolution, was to destroy a podcast in 2021.
Well, mission unaccomplished. Things are going smoothly as far as I'm concerned. Now, Keith, what was your resolution, your New Year's resolution in December 2019 for the year 2020? And what was it, and did you fulfill it?
Well, one, we already talked about it. I sat on the stove with my testicles hanging down into a flame while talking to Tony on the phone. I accomplished that. Yes. Second resolution was to stop Tony from taking over interviews that are occurring.
Yeah.
And kind of antagonizing anyone who interviews us, which he does.
Huh?
He does. He does. Look, listen, Tony, Vish is nothing. We both understand that, right? Like, he is nothing.
I'm not nothing.
Well,
I'm something.
I mean, as far as we're concerned, you're nothing compared to what we have.
Fair enough.
Don't worry about it.
I see.
Don't worry about it.
I'm starting to get a clearer picture of why all the beatings occur. You guys feel threatened that anyone who comes upon you is potentially going to threaten your beautiful relationship. And it's not, someone could see you two walking down the street and say hello, and you'll be like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? And then you go after them.
Wow.
And you beat them.
You're quite a sharp man, Vish. Are you sure you haven't sat on the stove that often?
That often. That's very specific. Have I done it even once? Is the question, really. No, I've never sat. I have a gas stove, actually.
You seem quite intelligent, I have to admit. You've never. So you're saying you've never lit your balls on fire from the burner of a stove?
I'm not going on the record and saying I've never done that. I don't want this to be, I don't want to be called out at some point if that footage is in fact unearthed. But I will say that, yes, I agree with your main point about me being intelligent. That's fair. I think that's fair. I mean, Keith, as a fellow intelligent person, I know you said I was nothing, but I think you were just being, a little gamesmanship among intellectuals there. You feel like I'm something, yes?
Not really. But
okay.
Yeah, okay. For your, to keep you interested. Yeah, sure, Vish.
I'm very interested. I'm extremely interested.
The thing is, yes, we're very close. And people who try to come between us receive very harsh treatment. I remember Tony's mom. She just messaged me. Tony's mom, she said to tell this story. She had me over and Tony, because it was my birthday, and she'd baked me a cake, and I took it quite personally that she was trying to make Tony look like some kind of asshole who didn't have a birthday. So I hit her once with the cake. And then Tony, stop. Sorry. Oh, yeah, I know. I'm telling you.
She's really on you about that story.
I hit her once with the cake, but Tony said, stop it. Don't hit my mom with this cake. I'll get her sent to prison. So he phoned the police and said that she was abusing him and got her sentenced to 5 years in jail. She got the point.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
But that kind of shows you how dedicated we are to each other.
Tony, what kind of cake was it?
And it also shows you the kind of intellectual
chocolate
Keith
cake
is that you are.
Yeah. Okay, chocolate cake.
It also shows you the kind of intellectual that Keith is that you are binding yourself to here, Vish, saying that you and I are alike in this intellectual cafe meetup discussion brainstorm group.
Cafe meetup. Okay. Yeah. What is
Cafe Voltaire kind of un Americano s'il vous plaît. We're both intellectuals.
Right. Sorry. I didn't really get why were you broaching that? Why were you suggesting that what was your point there, that I'm aligning myself with this?
Because you're saying, Keith, you and I are the same, whereas Tony is not like us. and Keith is telling you about attacking my mom with a chocolate cake. Do you like your brother-in-arms now so much, or what?
Can I just be honest with you, Tony? I was trying to suggest that Keith and I were similar to endear myself to you because you like Keith. I thought it would be interesting to you if I said I'm a lot like Keith in that maybe you and I could have a bond. You say I'm trying to drive a wedge between you. You're not far off. But I just want you to know, and I know Keith can't hear me right now, I want you to know that I'm really attracted to you.
This is
I heard all that.
Clever play,
I
my
think
good
you
man.
said that I didn't hear it all.
Very, very Queen's Gambit-y of you.
Yeah, you said that I couldn't hear all that. I heard all of it.
Hey,
I don't
Keith, how's it
understand
going?
why you thought that I couldn't hear it.
Sorry, Keith, I didn't know you were there. How are you?
I'm great.
You didn't even mute Keith. You didn't even mute him.
I'm not sure what you're referring to there, Tony. I think everything's just fine. Okay, well, we haven't got to any New Year's resolutions, which was the whole point of this intervention/interview. So I don't know where else to take us exactly. I guess, Tony, what's coming up next for you and Keith? Because as I said, I've heard some of your conversations through some sort of surreptitious recordings that were made surreptitiously, I should say, that are available now on the internet on some of the bigger companies. As a matter of fact, if people go to like Apple Music, they can hear some of the conversations that you and Keith have had. But what's
Bandcamp?
Bandcamp as well.
Page.
You have a Bandcamp. Oh, so you are willing participants in the distribution of your own conversations. Yes, that's true. So Tony and Keith,
we're talking to a man right now. To be honest, a man who's building a time machine and promised to take us back to ancient Greece.
Like the first movie?
No, like the first time of Greece.
Like
ever.
I'm sorry, like not the John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John film. You're saying because that's an old.
Oh, I see.
That's a very
you're
old.
Right. Technically, that is also an ancient Greece.
It's
You're
the
right.
oldest Greece. I know there's been other Greeces, but that's the oldest one. So I thought that's what you meant. You mean you're actually going?
Yeah,
to
no,
the,
this is Greece spelled Greeze. Greece.
Oh, Greece. Yeah, okay.
Greece.
So you're going to Greece, and that is actually ancient civilization. What do you hope to learn?
Yeah.
I'm not sure where this came from because I was just trying to get you to plug your Bandcamp. But let's go into that a little bit. Why are you?
Well, you asked me what's coming up for this year, right?
No, that's true. Yeah, you're right. I was wrong. As usual, I was wrong. So why head to ancient Greece in a time machine?
Well, I'll speak for myself. I think we want to kill people with swords.
Oh, can't you do
and
that?
Arrows?
Can't you do that here?
But Keith is the expert on this. I think you should ask him about it.
Well, I'd like to.
No, I'm not going to. I don't want to. Oh, unless you want, Tony. You ask Keith. So yeah, sorry. One of us asked the question. I don't have to now. Keith, go ahead.
Keith, what was your ambition for ancient Greece again? I'm excited.
Sorry, I was muted that whole time. I didn't hear any of it. What are we talking about?
Keith, how are you?
Oh,
sorry.
great.
How's it going?
Pretty good. I
was talking with Tony about ancient Greece. Apparently, you guys are heading there.
Yeah, we
are. Do
are.
you know anything about this? Oh.
Well, I really want to eat a lot of olives and go swimming. But Tony really wants to stab people with bronze weapons. So I thought we could kill two birds with one stone. And boom, there we have it, ancient Greece.
Oh, nice. That sounds lovely.
I'm excited to go to the symposium to see how easy it is to see Socrates' wang.
Yeah.
He got it out all the time.
Is that one of the symposium topics?
Yeah.
Well, when the drunker they get, the more they put their legs up and rest them on high stones, etc.
He's
Stone
famous.
benches.
His famous last words were, "I got your hemlock right here."
Right. Yes. Odd and famous last words for sure. Yeah. Now, Keith,
He said, "You guys don't know jack shit. I got your hemlock right here," and then he honked it and went honk honk.
Right, because he had a car. Keith, what is? I got it from Tony, but what's coming up next for you and Tony there, Keith? Beyond the Greece trip.
Well, I think we're going to probably try to survive COVID-19. And if that happens, I think we're going to go to Tokyo for the Olympics. Yeah, we haven't qualified for anything yet, but I feel like I've been, doing a lot of squats and stuff like that in my home. So I'm thinking, I hope I can get, if there's a hopping competition or something like that, where you have to hop down a long lane.
That is a competition, yeah, the long hop.
The long hop.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
That's
do
interesting.
that.
So you had ancient Greece, which is the, I believe, where the Olympics started.
Mm-hmm.
And then on that same sort of wavelength, heading to Tokyo for the Olympics. So, it begs the question, Tony, do you love the Olympics?
Well, I like throwing stuff like the javelin into other guys.
Yeah, you're really into killing people. It's interesting.
Well,
I'm an angry dude.
Yeah,
sometimes.
No, that's fair to say. Yeah, that's fair to say. We can all hear that in your voice.
What's
today.
interesting about the ancient Olympics, they competed completely naked, coated with olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to get that back in the Olympics.
What would be the
They
advantage?
were naked, they were coated in olive oil, and then when they got to the finish line, they would jump into a giant vat of like a creamy garlic dip.
Yeah.
I think you're thinking of
Almost
Little
like the
This is you're thinking
like
of
the crust of
Little
a pizza.
Caesar, but you're thinking of Little Caesars, not your. I think everything.
Yeah,
you're-
but Little Caesar guy is an Olympian that retired and then started a pizza place.
I get it. I get what you're saying. I just think you could all cut to the chase. It just seems like you need to visit a Little Caesars and work out while the pizza's being made, and then you'd
I would
have
love
the
to.
exact same experience. You didn't have to do the time machine. You don't have to do anything else. Don't have to go to Tokyo. Just go to a Little
You're right.
Caesars. Yeah, go to a Little
And then
Caesars.
when our order's ready, Keith can hop
yeah,
to the counter.
yeah,
Yeah. But I'm a little worried because during my hopping, my scrotum has been banging against the ground, and it's
Right.
still quite tender. Its skin
Right,
on
from
it
the-
is like glass. It's smooth. Like there's no contours at all. And it hurts when I bang it on the ground.
Yeah. Well, nothing that a little crazy bread won't fix, right?
Exactly.
I mean, some that'll go in your mouth and you'll feel better. Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Now, is there
His scrotum now is like a crystal ball.
Yeah.
Crazy. I picked up the scrotum and tried to predict the future, and I thought I'd see the future happening inside his balls, but instead all I saw was actually the testicles just floating there.
You picked up the scrotum? Where was the scrotum that you had to pick it up, per se?
Well, it was hanging down between Keith's legs.
It's hanging very low these days. Is that because of because of the scorching?
Yes.
The burning, they hang low.
They haven't got a lot of elasticity left.
Right. Well, I mean, that's interesting in itself.
Have you heard For Whom the Bell Tolls?
Yes, of course.
When it comes to Keith, it's for whom the scrotum dongs.
Okay.
I actually, that song by AC/DC, Hell's Bells, that's about me. And only it was originally called Hell's Balls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fascinating. I am learning a lot.
We're intellectuals like you.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm pleased to be a part of your coterie now, if I might say. Like I feel like a brother in arms, if you will, whose balls are
40 minutes in, I think it's fine that we say hell's balls at this point.
okay. Yeah, that's fair. Now, where can people go, Tony? Where can people go to learn more, if they want to, about Tony and Keith? Where would you send them?
I would say give us money. So go to bandcamp.com/Chris and Sean are Tony and Keith. Chris and Sean are our aliases that we made up for business purposes.
Why would you?
It's tax.
Okay, Chris and Sean. This is just for tax purposes mostly?
Yes.
Chris and Sean are Tony and Keith.
Okay, great. And Keith, do you have anything else you want to plug before we wrap this up?
I have a new line of Epsom salts coming out
Oh,
called Keith's Soakers. And it's basically a small, like net bags filled with Epsom salts that you toss into your tub, and you get in, and it soothes your muscle aches.
okay.
Keith's Soakers.
Keith's
Available
Soakers and
at Rexall and Shoppers Drug Mart.
Kmart. I assume also at
Kmart's
Kmart.
not around anymore.
And they come in,
Oh,
they're like skin color, which is kind of cool.
oh, they kind of look like kind of look like Keith's singed balls. Is that what you're getting at there?
Yeah. Well, they look like a polyp that you've nipped off and thrown in the tub.
Right.
Not saying that's what they are, but they definitely look exactly like it.
Yep.
Tony, I gave Keith an opportunity to do an extra plug. It wasn't just Tony and Keith stuff. I should do the same for you, just out of common courtesy. Tony, what else is coming up for you? Do you have any products coming out, or anything you want people to know about?
Well, I found a hammer that I love, and you can rent it out for about $5 for 20 minutes. And in that 20 minutes, you try to take me down with that hammer. See how far you get.
Okay, how many customers have you had for this promotion?
6, and they all looked like different eras of Joaquin Phoenix for some reason.
Was that after you hammered them in the face?
No. He wasn't hammering them.
No.
Oh, they were hammering you.
Him.
So when they're attacking you with the hammer that you have for rent, what are you using? What are you using to defend yourself? What have you got going on?
To be honest, for right now, it's just my goddamn muscles.
Oh, okay. So you just fend off the hammering with some arm movements, and
That's right.
yeah.
I'm like an old sailor covered in tattoos, except it's just welts, and I'm proud of them.
Okay. Now your hammer renting business is available where exactly? Where can people access the hammer?
Oh, I'll be around.
Okay, that's what I thought you were going to say. Yeah, that's good. That's good promotion right there. Well, Tony, Keith, this has been a lovely exchange.
KeithStokers.ca. KeithStokers.ca. All one word, all lowercase.
Okay.
And I'm coming for you.
I'm coming for you.ca. Okay, got it. Got that.
No, just look out for me.
Oh, you're still upset with me about the whole me liking Keith?
No, I'm talking to anybody listening.
Oh, you're just
I'm
coming for
you.
everyone. Okay, it's not just. That's nice to hear. I thought it was just about me, and I don't. I like to spread the love.
This was a lovely time, Vish. Thank you so much.
Oh,
really
it's
enjoyed
my
myself.
pleasure. Thank you very much, as always. I hope that we get to speak again sometime soon, and that you don't resent me as much as it seemed like you did there for a few moments. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Speaking for myself, I love you.
Oh, that's
Speaking
nice. Keith,
for Tony, I'm lying.
Okay. Okay. What? I don't. Okay. Well, good luck, everyone, and we'll talk soon. Well, thanks again to Chris and Sean, our Tony and Keith, for appearing on this, the 594th episode of Creative Control, which is part of the Entertainment One podcast network and is available wherever it is you get your podcasts. If you can't find an episode that you've heard about, you're looking for it, and it's not on any of those platforms, or if you want to learn more about me and sign up for my monthly newsletter, please visit my website, vishkhanna.com. You can like Creative Control on Facebook, I suppose. You can also follow the show on Twitter, @VishCreative, or follow me directly on Twitter and on Instagram, @VishKhanna. Also, please visit patreon.com/Creative Control to make a flexible monthly donation. $6 or more a month grants you access to exclusive content, and if you're interested in receiving a Creative Control t-shirt for your donation, please message me on Patreon and I'll get you one while supplies last. Again, you don't have to start at $6. You can start lower. Just add a donation for $1 a month. So that's totally whatever you want. But I also, a couple people $20 a month. Whatever you feel you can afford and makes sense to you. Whatever you choose initially, you can change it too. You can go up, you can go down. Again, all of the information you need is at patreon.com/Creative Control. Thanks again to live@masseyhall.com, where you can watch beautifully captured concerts by great Canadian musicians, and also to Pizza Trocadero, The Bookshelf, and Planet Bean Coffee in Guelph, and Granddad's Donuts in Hamilton for their in-kind support for this show. Thanks, as always, to Jim Guthrie for letting me use some of his music on the show, and you can learn more about Jim at jimguthrie.org. He's just seems to be getting into the habit of releasing some new songs regularly as I'm speaking to you, so go to jimguthrie.org for more information to keep up with Jim and his work. And finally, thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode with Chris and Sean, or Tony and Keith. And also, once again, thanks to Chris and Sean, or Tony and Keith, for being on the show. I hope you enjoyed it. It was fun to chat with them. It was a little chaotic, but it was fun. And so, yeah, thanks for listening to this. Thanks for subscribing to the Creative Control Podcast and perhaps asking your friends to do the same. That helps spread the word about it. And, yeah, that's all I have to say. I will talk to you very soon with yet another guest or two.